Hi everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Take 12 with Kate. Today we've got a lower body extravaganza for you, so we're going to burn out those legs. As usual, you don't need any equipment, you just need yourself and a bit of space. And working mindfully, obviously we don't want anything to cause any discomfort, but we want you to work hard and have a little bit of fun. So finding that space, we're just going to start with a squat here. Feet shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward. You can have your arms folded across your chest or extended straight out in front of you. And we're going to do what's called a 1 1/4 squat. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom of a squat, up 1/4 of the way, back to the bottom, and then to the top. All the way to the bottom, up 1/4, back to the bottom, and then to the top. So 1 1/4. We've got about 7 more of these to do. So working at your own pace here. And if you have any knee issues, then just be mindful to stay above that painful spot. So if you don't get into a full squat, that's totally okay. Just work with the range of motion that suits you and your body. Now you may be feeling this in the legs and hips a little bit, and that's good. We'll do 3 more here. And then on the last one, we got a bit of a surprise for you. 1 more good one. You're actually going to stay at the bottom and hold here. So we're just going to burn it out a little bit. Once again, you can have the arms extended if that makes it a little bit easier for you to sit back. Breathing through it. If your legs are shaking a little bit, that's okay. Just means those muscles are working nice and hard. 3, 2, and 1. All right, ease out of that. Shake the legs out a tiny bit here. And then we're going to go into a one-legged deadlift. So we're going to start on the left foot. You're going to bring your right knee up. And then you're going to kick the right leg back. If you need a wall close by or something for balance, that's totally fine. But see if you can stay upright the whole time. Kicking that right leg back, if you can. Trying to keep those right toes pointed down towards the floor, not letting the hip open up. So once again, we're going to do about 10 repetitions here. You should be feeling this at the back of that left leg. Potentially in that foot and ankle as well, as you're working to stabilize yourself. And then you don't have to go any further than parallel to the ground. So you want your shoulders to actually stay above the level of your hips here. So further down is not necessarily better. If you can do that, great. That's not necessarily the goal of this exercise. All right, last one. Woo. And then same thing here, you're gonna hold. Just burn it out a little bit more here before we move on to the other side. Woo. It's hard to look at the camera and do this. All right, and relax. Okay, shake out that left leg. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So bringing the right knee up this time, left knee up this time, keeping the right leg on the ground and then kicking it back. So nice and controlled here. Slower is often a bit tougher because you're forced to stabilize throughout the movement. And you may notice that your balance is better on one side or your mobility is better on one side compared to the other. That's fairly common. And once again, if you need fingertips on a wall or on a chair or countertop to help you out, that's totally fine. All right, let's do 3 more good ones on this side. You should be feeling this at the back of that right leg. And then last one, we're going to hold here. Breathing through it. Trying to be as stable as possible. Both hips facing down towards the floor. Arms out for balance. Woo, feeling that right hip here. 2 and 1. All right, gently release. Shake that out. All right, we're going to go down to the floor here. So we're going to do a glute series of exercises, all designed to work the different parts of your glutes. So those are those big muscles in your butt that work around your hips to help you extend your legs and run and jump and throw and all those other things that come from the lower body. So you're going to start on one side. It actually doesn't matter where your elbows line up because you can lie straight down or you can have your hand resting. Your top leg is the one that we're working here, so you're going to have your foot in neutral, so the toes aren't pointed out or back. It's just like you're standing on the ground, and you're just going to lift and lower. So we're going to do approximately 20 repetitions here. There's 3 parts to this series, and you should feel a little bit of a burning here If you feel it in the front of your hip, then just make sure that your hips are facing more towards the floor than they are towards the ceiling. And that should help you get this gluteus medius here, that muscle on the outside of your hip that helps to stabilize your hips when you're moving. And you can choose how high you want to lift. Obviously, you don't want to go all the way up, and you want your leg floating so that it's working throughout. And this should start feeling like it's burning. We're going to do 3 or 4 more here. Awesome. Okay, keep the foot hovering. Point your toe. You're going to draw a big circle coming from the hip. Actually, you can decide the size of the circle that you would like, but once again, keep your foot floating. We're only going to do 10 of these because we're going to reverse the direction for the second set of 10. And trying to keep your hips nice and stable so you're not wiggling around or shifting your body back and forth with each hip circle. All right, one more pause there. Now draw the circle backwards. Whew, starting to feel that. All right, we got one last part here. You're going to bring the knee up. And you're going to draw a big circle. Your foot goes back into neutral here, so as if you're standing on the ground. So you don't want your toes pointed for this particular part of the drill. And then you're going to kick your foot back and around. Butt kicker, then bring the knee up. So almost like you're stepping over a giant hurdle, or I like to use the analogy of somebody running into a lake that has giant waves, and you're trying to step over the waves. So we're going to do 20 of these here. You can use your hand to help stabilize you. But once again, you don't want to be rocking or shifting with each one. You want this hip and glute complex to be doing all of this good work. And if this is not burning, then I don't know what I can do for you, because this is sizzling right now. And just wait till we get to the second side. Gets even better. All right, we're more than halfway there. It starts to feel like the weight of your leg becomes too much to bear. All right, 4 more good ones. Big wide circles, kicking it all the way back and around. Last one. Woo! All right, so if I put a piece of paper here, it feels to me like it would just combust and start into fire or flame. So we're just going to stretch out with a little figure 4 here. So crossing the right leg over above the left knee, and then sitting up nice and tall, and you should feel this stretch right in the spot where it is burning. So all the way in that, deep in that hip, and then maybe up the side of the leg. If you don't feel this, sit up a little bit taller, bring your legs a little bit closer to you. We're just gonna breathe into this side here. Whew, let it settle down. And then thankfully, we've got time. We can get into the other side for the same 3 exercises of that glute series that we just did. I'm just adding a little baby rotation here just to kind of groove in and out of that hip socket. You can do the same or just hold it in a stationary way. That's totally fine. All right. Oh, okay. Gently release. I'm going to switch sides. So lying on the opposite side. Foot in neutral, lift and lower. Once again, making sure your hips are facing more towards the floor than towards the ceiling. So that encourages the use of the muscles in the back of your hip rather than the front of your hip, which are often overworked anyway. So we've got 20 of these. We're about halfway there. You can pace yourself or you can pace with me. It's up to you. You can go a little bit higher or not as much range, depending on how you're feeling about this. And you might feel your bottom hip working here. That's totally normal. Both glutes actually work to stabilize here, so this bottom side is already a little bit pre-fatigued. All right, last one. Point the toe, draw that hip circle forwards. Two more. And then reverse directions. Trying to keep your whole body as stable as possible, just moving through that top leg. 3 more. All right, foot back to neutral, bring that knee up, and then kick that leg all the way back and around, butt kicker, knee up. Big wide circles here as if you're stepping over giant hurdles or running through giant waves. Breathing with each repetition if you can. All right, halfway there, we got 10 more good ones. Almost there. Last one. Awesome. All right, once again, you should be feeling that in the hip, maybe that outside of the glute. We're gonna do a figure four so you can make your way to a seated position. And we're just gonna stretch out that side. So crossing that leg over, above the knee, flexing the toes back. And then you can just shift your weight forward to feel that stretch in that hip and maybe out the outside of the leg. And then if you would like to, you could add that little bit of rotation, just shifting the legs back and forth. Just grooving deep inside that hip socket. Oh. All right, gently release. We're just gonna sit in butterfly here, so soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall where they may. Chest is nice and tall, lean forward. I just noticed I have a hole in my sock. You probably noticed it before, but there it is. And then if you want to increase the stretch, you can lean forward slightly or just bring your heels closer towards you. And don't worry too much about where your knees splay. Everyone has such different ranges of motion in their hips. So if your knees don't look like mine, that's totally fine. If they're up here, then just release, make the feet a little bit further away from your body, and once again, let them fall where they may. The important thing is that you're doing the stretch. You should feel a little bit in the inner thighs here. A little bit or a lot. All right, last deep breath here. Sit however's comfortable, interlace the fingers, reach the arms forward. I like to finish with a little upper back release, even though we did lower body today, just because this is a nice stretch to release some tension in case you might have some of that. Back between the shoulder blades, you can hold that for as long as you need to. In the meantime, I just want to thank you for joining us for Take 12 with Kate. Hopefully you enjoyed the lower body extravaganza today, and hopefully you'll be joining us for more editions of Take 12 with Kate. Thank you, and have a great day, everybody.